So look, let me level with you guys out there in Twitch land tonight. All right, don't get it twisted. Tonight's uh, showing of the first Betrayal campaign, the World of Greyhawk, is all about because of the fact that I'm really close to getting Twitch affiliate numbers. And no, I'm just kidding. What's going on, everybody out there in Twitch land? It's Carlos here. Today is actually not because I'm going to want to become an affiliate. Today's about the fact that you guys saw Patrick and Jeremy the other day in our last game. I've got some makeup sessions for those guys that they missed, and today is one of them. So, uh, I know you probably know these dudes by now, but I would be remiss if I didn't go ahead and introduce each one of them in turn. Over to your left, we have Jeremy Brazil, otherwise known as Rainmar. Over there on my right, we have Patrick Hope, otherwise known as Agrias of the 10%. Um, you guys, you guys enjoyed the session last night.
It was all right.
You guys like it? Okay, good. 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 It's a weird for you guys. It was kind of a weird session in that you really didn't have a ton of kinetic stuff to do. It was mostly informational. So the fact that you guys enjoyed it, I was very relieved about that.
Yeah, I
Today,
think we
without
were.
go ahead. I'm sorry.
Uh, yeah, I think we were actually really interested in playing the lore angle at the time. So I think it was perfect for us.
Well, for those of you out there who don't know, Jeremy's character is a fighter, straight fighter right now, and he is going to eventually work towards being a bard. So seeing that actually in play is essential to building his character. You know, you have a raison d'etre for when he becomes bard to multi-class. I think one of the problems I have with later editions is that players end up doing this thing before they even start play. Hey, I'm going to start off and I'm going to get 4 levels of fighter, and then I'm going to dip into druid for a level, and then I'm going to get I don't know uh, what Horizon Walker for 4 levels, and then I'm going to try and get Archmage. I'm going to take this feat, this feat, this feat, and this feat. It's almost like they so hyper plan their character before the game even goes that it's kind of tough to make it. It's more like reading a novel than playing a game at that point in time, where things are changing and you get opportunities that really aren't developing naturally and organically in gameplay.
Sure.
And I'll give you guys an example of that. In your campaign, First Betrayal, we had Lily and Sunny, the two apprentices from Brixton.
Hmm.
Well, halfway through the game, Agrias was asked to tutor Lily. Agrias being a fighter magic user. I gave these guys a list of the dramatis personae of the game today, and if they were paying attention, they'll notice that Lily, who has been studying with Agrias, who was supposed to be a thief illusionist like her master Brixton, because she's been hanging around with Agrias right now, she's very actually close to getting her first level in fighter and thief rather than illusionist thief. So depending on how
Mm.
they get trained, that changes the whole dynamic of it, and that's not something that can happen if you're planning this character out so tightly from the very
Right.
first second. So um, these are the cool things about the game, that they reveal different aspects of things you can take advantage of, or something cool that I don't know. For example, maybe you guys happen to find some cool stones on the ground, and you decide you want to be miners or something in the middle of this to go ahead and supplement your income for the for Procan's
Hmm.
Eye. Well, next thing you know, all of a sudden you're taking mining proficiencies, and you end up in this whole place in this campaign where you end up somewhere where you didn't think you would end up. You couldn't hope to think where you were going to end up.
That's the real magic of the game.
I think so. I think so. And I
Yeah.
think that the later editions take away from that a little bit. In 3.5, especially, and the Pathfinder, where you're planning everything based around a certain series of feats that you go. And I just found out just now that one of my dearest friends in the history of Carlos Friendom is watching us tonight, just after the first time. My good friend Bob Nolan is out there
Hey, Bob.
in the great state of Maryland. I think Jeremy and Patrick have heard tales of the last real long Greyhawk campaign I ran, which was for Bob Nolan back in the late 90s over in Maryland, in which he was playing a character just up the road from where you guys are in the Nation of Stonefist. So, Bob, it's great to see you over here. I got to get you actually live playing a game now that everybody's going Zoom these days and doing sort of video conferencing. You know, I think opportunities are going to be there and it'll be really cool. But anyway, thank you for watching. Thanks for everybody else for watching. It's gratifying to see you guys here. When I last opened my Intrepid Heroes, you had decided that you were going to take everybody in the camp pretty much on the ship, and you were going to go southward to hook up with Brixton and David Aho. Um, Everybody is busying themselves loading gear onto the ship, doing the various twos and fro's of getting everything together. Agrias, you can see people putting food on there. Um, there are still people manning the. Dorian has got his group watching the walls, just kind of making sure that nobody attacks while you're distracted. Herrick is running point on this, ordering people around. He seems to have, at Agrias' leadership, giving him more and more responsibility, he seems to have quite blossomed into it. He does a pretty good job now of ordering people around and telling and keeping everything kind of on track. It's clear to you guys that the new workers are terrified of him. So,
Perfect.
yeah,
That's what we
they're
want.
terrified of him, and context-wise, you have a feeling that something might have happened while you were gone to make them that way. But whatever it is, he really hasn't said anything about it. He probably just thinks it's so ordinary that doesn't think twice, doesn't even register to him. But Agrias, what do you want to do first thing in the morning?
Well, I want to go see the our employers on this whole
Well,
journey.
the colonel is standing there outside of his tent with his daughter. Calissa Entrati is drawing a picture. She's at the shore drawing a picture of the sloop that is owned by the captain. You approach the colonel. Colonel looks over his shoulder, smiles at you. Oh, I see that everyone is getting ready to be ready to go. Says, how many people did you intend on leaving back here?
About 14.
What?
Yeah, Herrick, Darian, and Darian's men.
Herrick kind of looks over his shoulder. He says, "Wait a second, boss. I could have swore yesterday you said I could go. Right?
How much were you drinking?
That never happened.
Some pal you are." He looks over at you, Rainmar. I'm getting stuck on garrison duty and everything with all the actions going on down south.
Look, if I wasn't your friend, you'd be dead already.
He looks over at you and kind of shrugs. I suppose so. Hey, listen, just so you know, Rainmar, I think your buddy over there doesn't quite know where he fits in yet. Everybody's been kind of giving orders around here, but I don't think your driver really understands what he's supposed to be doing right now. You know, Nelson?
Yeah.
Hey, you want me to tell him something? He looks over at you, Agrias.
Well, he's been hired to drive the carriage. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, well, that's the point. Is we're not exactly carriage drivers right now.
All right, pull the wedding carriage in behind the fortification. That'll give him something to do this morning. Oh, by the way, is it morning? Is it the next morning?
It is morning, but
okay.
He says that's going to take all of 10 minutes.
Yeah, after that, find out what his skill potential is here in camp.
Already figured it out while you guys were gone. I kind of interviewed everybody at one point or another.
And what can Nelson do for you?
Nelson can drive carts and shoot a crossbow. That's about it.
All right, get him dialed in on the crossbow.
I don't even know that the guy can read.
Okay, listen. I don't care if he can read. If he can put a crossbow bolt in someone's mouth when they let out a war cry, then he's useful.
Dorian kind of ambles over first thing in the morning. You could tell that Herrick is doing his best to bite his tongue around him, be a little bit more polite. Well, good morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
Last night, you should know situationally that I had our men go ahead and start doing constructing mortar for the walls. So we're going to be putting that on today.
Okay.
Okay.
Since you were since my men, or at least the people I hired in your behalf, are warriors, it's really not going to take too much for me to instruct them how to put it onto the walls. I assume you're going to take the laborers with you or not?
No, we are not taking the laborers.
I see. I'd spoken to the colonel, and he said that only 12 were going to remain.
Oh, no, all of them are staying. I thought he meant all of the warriors, not the laborers.
Oh, I see. Very well, then. It's a simple misunderstanding. You two look like you're dressed to go somewhere. He looks at the both of you.
We are, but I do have a question about these trips out to the middle of the ocean that you guys have been taking. What's the update there?
Herrick says, listen, handling his girl, he points over at Rainmar, isn't really something that you really do. You just kind of hold on for the ride, I think, more than anything. She just kind of goes where she wants to and does what she wants to. I asked her a couple times what she was up to, and she said she's scouting. So,
Okay.
I don't know.
But the goal remains the same. So, is there any progress on building the raft?
I haven't heard any instructions on this raft at all yet from the colonel. I think he's just waiting for us to be done reinforcing the walls, and then we're going to find out something about it. But I think he also might be a little bit put off by the fact that you guys weren't here, and he didn't want to get too far ahead of himself while we were all spread out.
That's fine. We're making tactical decisions for the future.
Oh, all right. Well, the best I could tell you is, if you want to know about why she's going out to sea, if anybody's going to get answers out of that, it's going to be you, Rainmar. And if you want to talk about about what we're going to do about building the raft, I think Agrias, if you're going to get answers, it's going to be you. You should ask the colonel, or at least his daughter, maybe. I think Entrati knows something about it too. Maybe you have a better relationship with her.
Yeah, let's dip into that well real quick before we make any other moves.
Got it. Well, I'm going to keep directing people to get stuff on the boat.
Okay.
Yeah, and finish the fortification, and then we move on to the raft.
He nods. So he goes, he walks away, starts doing his thing. You guys are going to approach Kalissa first?
Let's deal with Entrati first.
Yeah, okay. Kalissa's standing there. She's got her curly red hair and her glasses. The sun's shining down on her. It's a little bit of a nip in the air right now. So she's got, in addition to her robe, she's got a little bit of a fur on top of it, a dark fur. And she's kind of writing on a journal, looking at the boat. Looks back at the two of you. Oh, good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Patrick, what'd you say?
I said good morning.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you warped out on me there a little bit. Your connection went a little bit freaky for a second.
Okay.
She looks over at you. She says, "Is there something I can do for you?" Closes her book and kind of puts her quill in a little holder along the spine of it.
Rainmar.
Looks back at Raymar.
Wondering if there's any update on the development of the raft.
Looks around a little bit. Says, "Actually, yes." She says, "If we can go into the one of the tents where we can speak privately."
Okay.
She goes into one of the tents, one of the supply tents with you, the two of you, and says, "The colonel and Shauna have asked if Charissa would take the Nereid shawl out to certain coordinates in the sea. Sometimes they're a day and a half, 2-3 days away. I think they're looking for the right place to begin construction."
Okay. And have we narrowed down a cross section of the water?
"I have, yes." And she opens up her book, flips through a bit, and she shows you this page. And it's a cutaway of the shoreline, as if you were looking at it from the side. It shows slope, shows depth, And she points out that this area on it where she's drawn a little bit of a sub map. And she says, right over here I've detected a source of magic to the south of here, right here. I suspect that might be where our friends are.
Okay.
Can I copy what she has in her journal?
You can ask her.
Can I copy what's in your journal into my journal?
If you just need this page, then sure.
Okay. I wasn't going to try to copy your grimoire.
You have to be you have to be certain.
Well, I don't think I would have any use for those spells anyway.
Yes, but you can always sell things, you know.
Fair enough.
She looks
Okay,
over
I'm
to
gonna.
Agrias and says, Agrias, I heard that your group had gone out and found something there in the mountains. Nobody seems to want to speak about it, though.
It's better that way. You can trust me on this.
Oh, very well then. I suppose we all have our secrets. She looks at her book and realizes that she just gave up let him copy stuff from her book and she could use it as leverage in the argument. But did you have any more questions for me?
Does the colonel know about this page you have?
Oh yes, the colonel helped. The colonel and Sharissa helped me create it mostly.
I just want to make sure that everybody is on the same page as far as our strategy. And the number one thing is that Agrias is attempting to put us in the best possible position before we execute this whole thing out in the water.
Okay.
And that means the acquisition of the proper weapons and equipment. It means training the people that we have here.
Yes, she nods. The colonel's well aware of the fact that you're trying to amass some sort of magical items and power before we go and we make a move, our next move. I think right now he's just doing his due diligence, so he'll be ready for you when the time comes.
No, that seems prudent.
I can't. Forgive me. I'm not trying to put words in his mouth, but I suspect, watching him, that that's what he's trying to do. Interestingly enough, she opens up her page. She says, I suppose I'll ask the both of you this. Have you ever seen something like this before? She opens up the page to you, Raymar and Agrias, and on it is a drawing of what looks like a Grecian helmet, like a Grecian warrior's helmet. Like it's kind of got a long front to it, sides with cutouts for the eyes.
Do I?
No, you've never seen anything like that before.
Can I roll for it?
Sure you can.
20.
It looks a little bit like her helmet, actually, the one that for the helm of comprehending languages and reading magic.
Is it a 20? Or percentile?
It was a 20. Oh, I thought you rolled a 20.
No, but it's 18 anyway. I mean,
Yeah, that's close enough. That's close enough. And that's what she tells you. You get the impression of it. You've never heard of it before, but the style is identical. Actually, I take that back. You have heard one more thing about it. That style is the ancient Sulawese style of helm.
Okay.
Yeah, I forgot that you've been studying Sul a lot lately. So, yeah, you recognize that.
That's all right. Does she want us to keep a lookout for it? Was she...
No. I have information that this was lost in the hills.
Which direction?
She pulls out and opens up a couple more pages. Has a picture of the mountains. It's probably about a day from where you were at the prismatic chrysanthemums tower.
A day south?
Yes, a day south, over the border into Bone March.
So opposite the direction of where we need to go to rescue our people.
Not opposite, but it is going a distance away from it.
Yeah, okay.
She says that my understanding is that when the ancient Sul were migrating to this coast, they had several of their legends, but one of their most powerful centurions lost this helmet here, in this area. So I thought I'd just ask if you'd seen anything like it before.
Do you mind if I copy the sketch?
Not at all. Please.
Okay.
I just think it might be something that could help us.
What's the function of it?
It's
as
vague.
best you can tell.
It's vague in the book, in the tomes that I have been studying for it. But what I have learned primarily is that it is an aegeus against attacks.
Okay.
It seems as if it allows uh, one to ignore the fire of normal arrows.
Okay. That could be useful.
Indeed, magic arrows would still pierce its protective layer, but within 10 feet or so of you, it would be normal missiles would be useless.
Okay. Um, I think that was the only question. Oh, I had some fetishes and gemstones and whatnot from our fight with the orcs in the hills.
Oh,
Can I get you
interesting.
to Can I get you to take a look at the fetishes and see what you think of them?
I'd be pleased to. She reaches into her bag and pulls her own helmet back out and puts it on.
And I can just leave them with her.
Yeah.
I mean,
I should know something sooner than this, though. She looks over at you. She says, "Will you be here in about 2 hours?"
probably not.
Oh, I see. Well, then when we meet up again, I'll have the information for you.
Thank you.
Mhm. My pleasure. Looks over
Agrias,
at
that's on you.
Agrias. Nods. Agrias, before you go, she looks over at your hip pocket. She says, "I sense some magic there that I didn't sense before."
Yeah.
Um,
I just smile and nod.
Secrets again, I see. She closes up her book, puts it in her backpack, says, I'll be working on your fetishes while you're gone. I don't suppose you want to tell me where you're going."
That's dicey.
Sighs a little bit and just walks out of the tent.
One thing I want to pick Kalissa's brain about,
Mm-hmm.
when we get back, would she be willing to look through my journal and make any corrections in my Elvish script or my history?
She looks back at your journal. She says, "My entire background is as a historian and as a reliquarian. So I possibly could add something to this. Um, if you're, I don't wish to insult you when I say that, but if you're interested in learning more, I can certainly offer you some tutelage."
Yeah, let's revisit that when we get back from our duties that Agrias has laid out for us.
Well, splendid. Then I look forward to speaking to you again, Raymar.
Thank you.
Oh, before you go, one last thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I spoke to your friend, the Knoll, the other day.
Oh, okay.
He speaks a very interesting dialect of his language. Hey, thanks, Anna Pratt. We appreciate you joining us. Um, he speaks a very unusual dialect of Knowlish, something I haven't heard spoken in my lifetime before. Um, it seems as if, as I've done some research on it, it hasn't been a tongue spoken outside of a very small window of people for 3 centuries at least.
It's a dialect of Nolish?
It's a dialect of Knowlish, yes. And I have a very strong interest in languages. It was impossible for me not to notice.
Um, do you know? That's interesting. So, is he doing any? Have you seen anything that he's written? Is he writing using Common, or is he
No, I
using a
haven't
different?
seen it. I have seen him. He has this colored chalk in his one of his bags. And he seems to draw patterns on the ground with this colored chalk, and within them is where he does his practice, apparently.
That has more to do with Zanye than it does to do with the language.
Yes, I suspected as much as well. I also detect that he gives some reverence to Zuoken as well.
Okay. Um, I have a little bit of an interest in languages as well. Maybe not at the level that you've achieved, I
Laughs
would
a little.
I would be curious if he would be willing to write out some of the phonetics for Nolish. As you know, I speak Nolish as well. Um, and just see if he's using the common alphabet or if he has some older runic structure to it that we're unaware of. Because usually Nolish uses a common alphabet, as you know.
It does, yes. Those dialects that can be translated into the written form, some of the more savage tribes have they've never even been translated.
For sure.
Um, yeah, I'd be happy to do that. I think it's clear to me that he does have some written form, at the very least in pictographic form.
Hmm.
So we'll see what I'll report back to you when I find something out.
Thank you.
Looks over at Agrias. Do you have any homework for me either?
I do not. Thank you, though.
I see. She says, that sword that you made. She looks at your hip. She says,
Yeah.
you did a nice job. The
Thank you.
the matrix is very elegant.
Thank you.
Starts walking away. Leaves the tent.
Okay, I look over at Rangmar and hand him my Black Orchid sword.
Oh, wow. Okay.
What am I
And I
doing with
say,
this?
the next time someone asks for Agrias, you are Agrias.
That's true. That's actually true. I just deadpan the whole thing. Yep.
Oof. The
Okay,
old
so
shell
just,
game. I love it.
yeah.
Okay. So what are your plans, Rainmar Agrias?
I need to find Melina.
Okay. You walk out of the tent, and Melina is out in the middle of the camp area where the campfire is. She's talking to Sunny and Lily. They're having a conversation with the three of them. It seems to you that the gnomes are doing no talking and a lot of listening.
I asked them what they seem so interested in Gnomish.
They look back at you and they say that, oh, good morning, Agrias, Lily says. She was just talking about the importance of remaining disciplined when you train and how that we should train on how to be trained, essentially.
Hmm.
Yeah, Sonny says. She says that there's a certain mindset you have to have, and it's a certain focus. That's all.
Are they
Did I kind of get that right, Melina? Melina nods,
are they actually training or they're just talking about it?
talking about it right now.
Okay.
I didn't want to teach them anything on my own, Agrias. Melina
I have a
says.
question. This is might be some kind of like a perception check, but when I was talking to Melina last night, did I get the sense that she is more advanced or less advanced in level than Agrias?
About the same.
Interesting. Okay.
About the same. Um, Although she obviously has that all the same until he just got taught by the chrysanthemum. Once she taught him, he took on a totally different aspect, and it's starting to compare apples to oranges.
Mm, that's fine, but that's not really what I'm asking.
I see what you're asking, and
Okay. Okay. It doesn't have to be subtle, but yeah. Okay.
okay.
That's fine.
So she looks at you. She says, "I didn't want to teach them anything and step on someone's toes. So, but I did tell them that it's very important the way that you approach your training is almost as important as the lessons that you learn from it. There's a greater lesson to be learned, essentially."
It's funny you say that. I asked her, come speak with me privately.
Very well. Rainmar, is he to come as well?
Actually,
Yes.
while this conversation is going on, I'm going to prepare Monty's armor. I'm going to let it out a little bit because I'm assuming she's still growing.
Yes, she is.
I'm going to just let her armor out just a little bit,
Okay.
and I'm also going to put the tenebrous hand sword from the rose. I'm going to mount the sheathing to it to Monty, so that if I need to, I can draw it off of her armor.
Okay. Make me a 20-sider while you're doing that. Agrias, you're leading a Melina away, and she looks over at you. She says, I hope this isn't serious. I didn't overstep my bounds.
15.
No, you haven't at all.
Oh, good.
I have a question for you.
Please.
What have you specialized in the Black Orchid?
Takes a deep breath. She says, I've been taught the art of seeing without seeing, primarily. My skills, the orchid has taught me primarily how to use my senses to expand them, so that I don't need to see my opponents. I can feel their presence around me. I can feel the motion of the world, their shadows shifting across the ground.
I'm going to roll just to test if Melina's full of shit.
Okay, but while you
Just
do
a
that,
sec.
Rainmar, your first die roll, the consequence of that, you noticed, you figure that Monty has put on probably about 25 pounds since you last looked at her, and she's
Jesus
probably about maybe almost a foot taller and a foot longer. She's almost rideable by one of the gnomes.
Ooh,
Almost.
Almost.
that's gonna happen. I'm gonna get a fucking saddle for that. Okay. Am I able to still mount the sword against the armor?
It makes it easier. It makes it easier because there's more to her now.
She's bigger. Yeah. Okay. The second that so I'm fiddling with the armor and the mounting. While she says that about sensing where the opponent is,
Yeah.
I draw the rose sword off of Monty's armor and swing for her neck.
Okay. As you do that, Agrias, you see her make a half faint step, and you already know what's coming. Where she does the move where she walks between shadows. Actually, you see from your perspective, Raymar, you turn and cut, and she almost seems like she deflects downward with her hand instead of blocking your arm. She blocks the arm of your shadow. It almost seems like, and then has her sword up in a way that it's weird. Her shadow and her arm are doing different things.
Does she draw?
No, she doesn't. She took her unsheathed scabbard up.
And I was not
with it.
I was not directly in front of her.
No, I know.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just say that's impressive.
She says,
I mean,
so was your cut. You almost had me.
eventually.
Looks over at Agrias and says, I suppose I've demonstrated my skill as well as talked about it.
Yes.
Was that the point of the exercise? She looks over at you, Rainmar.
Oh, I'm just a curious person.
I see. Very curious. Curiosity is a good thing.
And I learned something about how reliable you are as a companion.
I had thought that you might be concerned.
What could I have done better with my draw to get the drop on you?
You shouldn't have asked the question. As soon as I heard the question, I knew that something was afoot. The cut was true. I would have felt the blade coming. I wouldn't have been able to stop it had you not asked the question. However, I would have been able to turn in such a way that it wouldn't have done as much damage as it should have. I'd have survived it.
I'm turning my all-around sight on.
Okay, you turned your all-around sight on. What you feel is, through your all-around sight, when you do that, there's nothing moving around you. There's nothing moving above you. Something is moving below you. But it stops. It just gets out of range. You turned on just at the right time. You felt something in the tunnels below moving. Then it stopped. It could have just been a burrowing animal.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Okay. I look at Melina and ask her, "How soon can you be ready to leave?"
Right now.
Good. Ragmar, how many of your friends would you like to have come with us?
Depends on where we're going.
She looks back at you, Agrias, very curious herself.
We have to go back to the hills.
All of them.
Her eyes kind of get a little bit wide. We're seeing her then.
Just be ready.
She nods. She says, "This is unexpected. Gratifying, but unexpected." That,
Yes.
she looks over at you, Raymar. She says, "That I didn't see coming."
Okay, so we walk back over, and I ask Sunny and Lily
Uh-huh. They're
if
talking amongst each other as you walk up there. Lily says, "You know you're being talked about right away." Because she's talking, Lily is lecturing Sunny about, you just need to start over. To me, it seems obvious he's trying to start over with you. Just be nice. That's all you need to do. Just for once, be nice. Well, he makes it hard. He's always doing stuff.
Can I interrupt this? Do I hear this
Yeah,
shit?
you hear it.
I just bark at them in Gnomish. It's time to work. Stop bickering.
They both stiffen up. Lily jumps up, basically, has her sword in her hand, turns around. She goes, "I'm ready to go right now." Sonny looks
Son,
over at the two of you and says, "I was about ready to make breakfast. That was what I was ordered to do last. Do you want me to still do that or get ready?"
get ready.
Okay. She turns around, she walks away. I'll go with her, Lily says, and she starts walking with her. And as she goes, the two of them walk away. You can hear Sonny say to her, "Was that nice enough for you? It's a good start."
and I can still hear them.
Yeah, you hear it at the edge of hearing on the way away.
So at the edge of their hearing, they hear me say, "I'll kill both of you if you don't straighten up."
Lily looks back over her shoulder, and they walk a little faster towards the carriages.
I have a question about resources in the camp.
Yes.
Do we have anybody that can do leather working or forging in the camp?
Previously, no. Now, yes and no. Your leather worker is now actually south of here. It was David's character, Arion.
Okay.
Your metal worker, however, Dorian is capable of doing that.
Okay. Good enough.
How many people can fit in this wedding carriage?
Oh, about 8. With 3 on the top.
But where we're going, that carriage is useless.
Okay. Okay.
Agrias, what are you going to do?
I'm gonna have Rainmar, Melina, the 3 monks, Sunny, and Lily come with us back to the monastery to have Melina trained by the prismatic chrysanthemum.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
No.
Wow, I wasn't ready for that. Okay, so the whole group assembles at it's about 10:30. You expect in the morning. Everyone's ready. Everyone has their gear. Who are you going to tell everyone where you guys are going?
No.
Okay.
Well, first
Sister
of all,
Aramina thinks she has an idea. You can tell by the look on her face, just
this was
judging by
just
the
going to
way
say
you guys
that.
are walking. Yeah, but that's about it. And Lily actually went there with you last time as well, if you remember right. So it looks like, no, she was with Herrick. I take that back. She was training with Herrick that entire time.
I want to it.
No, Lily was with us,
Yeah,
I
you're
think.
right. Yeah, you're right. Lily was with you. Lily was
Yeah.
with you.
What I would like to do with Monty is I'd like to have Monty stick with the monks because
Okay.
I want to see if the balance will influence her.
The biggest influence that you see as you order her to walk with them is there's a lot of back and forth discussion in the form of growls and eye contact between the Knoll and her.
Okay.
The Knoll looks subtly troubled by her behavior, but um, it's almost like they're having a conversation. He's trying to get out of it, and she just won't let it drop.
I ask what the problem is.
He looks over at you and looks down at your at Monty. He says, "Nothing I shouldn't have expected, because your friend is trying to assert dominance. She
I
senses that I am being the only Knoll here. She senses me as an alpha, so she challenges me."
I grab Monty by the throat and drop her on her back.
Okay. You drop her on the back. She kind of just looks up at you. Um, she kind of slinks away a little bit, showing you her back, showing you her hindquarters. Looks a little chastised.
Can I growl?
Yeah. Kazrock knows exactly what you're doing. He just kind of nods.
I also drag her up by the armor and stand her next to Sister Armina, and I make it very, very clear that that's where she's supposed to be.
And she walks there for the remainder of the trip. Let me see about you guys' random encounters as you guys begin to go through the forest.
And I tell everyone before we leave, where we're going is never to be spoken about. Or spoken of, excuse me.
No one says a word of that. Everyone just kind of nods in silence.
Can we have a marching order?
Yes, of course you can. Please go ahead, Agrias.
Sister Amina and Monty in the front. I'm going to be next with Melina. And then the monks with Rainmar. And then I think the two gnomes should be with Monty.
Okay.
How far are we from a full moon?
Probably 3 days.
So that's going to happen while we're there.
Yes.
Okay.
So you begin to walk forward through the afternoon. Fortunately, you don't sense anything in the way of trouble. However, Sister Aramina remarked to a couple times, and so does Kazrak, that there are signs that orcs have been here recently.
Okay.
Agrias, as you walk up the winding mountain pass to get to the tower, you notice that it's been decorated a little differently than it was before. Now there are spears all along the path going up, and there are orcish heads that are mounted on them.
Jesus Christ. Okay.
Is that ours? What can I roll to see if I recognize one of the ones I shut down?
Sure.
20 or percentile?
Percentile.
6.
No, it is not. These are something different.
Okay, so somebody has killed orcs and they weren't the ones we killed.
Right.
Okay.
Flies all gathering around empty eye sockets. All the orcs look like they've been specifically maimed in such a way as being as frightening as possible. Soon enough, you come to the chasm between the two, between the tower, the little island that it's on, and the remainder of the mountains. Crossing that with your rope again, I would imagine. The wind is very strong today. Up in the mountains, it's a little bit crisp and cold. The clouds seem like they roll through the air at shocking speeds. There's leaden belly above you. You get to the door, and this time the door opens, and the chrysanthemum is right behind it. She looks at you. She says, "I didn't expect you so soon."
Well, I brought you someone, and I introduced her to Melina.
She looks over at her. Melina just kind of looks at her warily, but not. It almost looks like she's trying not to have too much of a reaction.
I look at Melina and go, "This is my master."
The chrysanthemum looks down at her sword, and then looks up at you. Now, what were you going to do, Agrias?
Oh, I look at Melina and say, "This is my master."
She looks over, nods, gets down on one knee. Does she know, Agrias? Does she know the consequence of the choice that she's about to make?
I
She
am
looks
leaving
at
that to.
Melina, kind of looks over at you like, "What have you just gotten me into?"
I tell her I am leaving that for you to discuss with her, and she also comes with questions and sought me out on her own.
That's interesting. And we're sure that she's not an assassin.
I've already made sure of that myself.
Melina kind of looks up at you again, just kind of nods. Rise then, Melina of the Tenebrous Hand. Prepare to be reborn. Melina kind of looks back at you. I don't understand, reborn? Indeed. Everything casts shadow. You are about to transcend it. Lily's over next to you, Agrias, and so is Sunny. And Sunny looks over at you, Agrias, and says, "She is really spooky."
I just look at her, nod, and say, "But show respect."
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've seen some pretty horrible stuff before. Um, with Brixton first, and then, before that, when my aunt would make illusions. So that was me trying to show respect. Sorry.
It's okay, Sonny.
Raymar, what are you going to do? The other monks are looking at the edifice that's up there. Just kind of looking
Based
at
on the time that we spent there before, I'm assuming that we have lodging and a training area
you
or
do.
more
You do.
training.
Hmm.
Yeah. Um, I just want to. I really want to document the process of this new student coming in and what she identifies are the differences between what she knows and what she's learning
So
now.
you hightail it actually to follow, so you can catch up on every. You don't want to miss a thing, I assume, right?
No, and because I have two of the blades now. I mean, one of them is mine, and the other one is I'm holding for
Hey,
Patrick.
Agrias, what do you think's going to happen to the third one after Melina is done studying? Go ahead, Rainmar.
Anyway,
Anyway,
um, so first I want to document, and then second I want to train.
okay.
So
I need you to make me a percentage die roll. Agrias, I also like you to make me a 20.
20, yes, sir.
45.
Okay, and Agrias?
19.
Okay. Is everyone training? Is Sunny training as well?
I was really just going to have it be Melina, Rangmar, and me.
Okay.
And Lily, because she already did some training there.
In that case, Sunny just sits back and watches. The monks train on their own.
Can we organize the Zanye training in another room?
Yes, you can.
Because that would be cool.
Yeah, no
And
distractions would be
Sunny
good.
actually says, if you guys don't mind, I recognize some of the stuff that they're doing, and I wouldn't mind learning a little bit of what they're doing.
The monks?
Yeah, I think I could pick up something from them.
Then you should go practice with them, Sonny.
She nods. She says, "Well, I didn't want to do it without you guys to say so."
And
That's appreciated.
what about Lily also?
Lily wants to study with the chrysanthemum because she
Okay.
says that well, I've come this far, and during our training before, she kept talking about roads to walk, and I guess I've already started this one. So let's see how it ends, right?
That's the
Okay.
spirit, Lily.
So they're all they're all walking their different ways. Over the next 2 days, you chronicle the training, Raymar, and it is different. It is a different
Mhm.
training than what she gave Agrias.
Okay.
Because what she learns right away is what she is good at and what she is not. Agrias, you and Raymar watch her. Agrias, it's clear that she is. Hey, thanks. I appreciate your joining us. I appreciate that's very nice of you. Raymar, it becomes very clear to you right away that she is not as good a fighter as Agrias by any stretch of the imagination.
I think we expected that, though.
However, when it comes to terminology, when it comes to knowledge of technique, she's better than Agrias. She knows the names. She knows what she's supposed to do. She's just can't execute it like Agrias can. She's just not that naturally talented. You see some stuff from the chrysanthemum this time that you've never seen because the training is different. She does a trick, Agrias, and you learn about it a little bit when you were talking about the Ebon Whispers path. And she talks about the flickering of black flame. And what she demonstrates the ability to do is the Nightcrawler move where he teleports randomly and cuts and cuts and cuts and cuts. She is everywhere around Melina in one training session, like disappearing, appearing, disappearing, appearing from these weird angles over top of her, slightly under her, just raining blows down, just this storm of swords.
This is the flicker move, right?
That's the flicker move.
I love that move.
Yes, that's flicker, otherwise known as blink. But
right.
yeah, she does that. She pulls that move, and you see that, and you realize when she does that, and she teaches her. She works on her willpower a lot too, her internal fortitude, and she does a trick where she whispers, and you can almost see her breath as darkness in the air.
Mm-hmm.
And Melina just can't help but do what she says.
Mm-hmm.
And she forces her all the time. Halfway through a fight, she'll say something like, put your sword down." Halfway when she's through a cut, and you see her arm like go dead, opens up a sword punch, a hilt punch to the face, that kind of thing. Focus, but she just keeps the pressure on her. But you notice throughout this training, she does a lot with Ebon Whispers, and to the point where it becomes apparent to both you and Rainmar that what she's training isn't just for her. She's showing you, demonstrating the technique
For sure.
at how someone employs it at its highest levels and how they use it tactically, how they use it. It's pretty impressive to see a practitioner of the art that's really that good. And every once in a while, when Melina uh, makes a good move or two, you'll just see her employ like 4 or 5 different techniques that you recognize from different stances and different mysteries all at once. It's amazing to watch her throw like 4 or 5, string them into each other, and totally make them totally separate maneuvers and stances just in this flowing rhythm that makes perfect sense. When it's like linking all these elegant words together into a majestic poem.
And I'm taking copious notes in my journal watching
Yes,
this.
and Rainmar, you are as well. She's a very challenging teacher. She is very aggressive as far as being a teacher. She was that way with Agrias as well, where she demands perfection. She demands it. And
Is there
yeah, go ahead.
is there any time in this 2 days of training, or even on this third day, second day, third day, whatever, where I can catch Melina off guard?
We'll get there in just one moment.
Okay.
Because I want to make something else explicit. When on the third day, or excuse me, about the third week goes by, and Sister Armia tells you that the moon is almost full, and she and her aesthetes have to sequester themselves somewhere away, lest they lose control. Um, you
But
noted that before the moon was supposed to be out in 3 days, yet for you inside of that room training, it was 3 weeks.
yeah, I follow.
Yeah, it was
Mhm.
again her abilities to manipulate shadows. Um, you notice something when they say that is that she has one of those old mechanical gnomish clocks that they used to make a timepiece.
Hmm.
The hands of it move totally fine, but the shadows of it move in the opposite direction.
Hmm. This is something I have actually in my notes from the prior game was that time is probably dilated in
Yes.
the Citadel.
And you realize that she does that with her mastery of shadow. And
Hmm.
Agrias, when you would compare notes with Rainmar about that, because you said you were comparing notes back and forth, um, it occurs to you that she has managed to find a way to take her martial art and actually do so much more with it than just martial things.
Hmm.
It is amazing to you. Like she'll take her sword and she'll tap it on a table or something like that, or something hard, and you'll notice uh, when she does that, the shadow that's created when the Union hits the table, the hilt hits the table, springs forth into something else that slithers down away from her and like a servant. It'll
Hmm.
it'll bring over like something a goblet for you or something like that. Things like that. She's really adept at making the art a complete part of her daily existence where she doesn't even think about it. It's just an
Hmm.
extension of who she is as a person. She puts as much effort to using the art into using the art as you would moving your hand or flexing a muscle. It's
So
amazing to watch her work.
she's been functionally practicing this for thousands of years. I mean,
Yes, on her
there's
own with no interruptions, basically.
yeah.
And yes, functionally, who knows how long she's done this. But Rainbow, that also tells you something else about her. Remember the conversation about the moonbow the other day?
Hmm.
Sehanin's moonbow? It also now becomes apparent to you why Sehanin might have appeared to her. Because her manipulation of time is actually probably forestalling her aging.
For sure.
And Sehanin, to
Ah,
Sehanin, it's obvious. It's
For
obvious
sure.
what she's doing. And it's like, hey, it's time for you to go. No, it's not.
Hmm.
And that's how she's resisting the moonbow, probably. Is she's not
Okay.
done learning. She's not done with what she wants to do. Her mastery is not complete in her eyes.
So then a question about Sister Artemina. If she has to go through the change, the other two monks help her with that.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
So she.
In the meantime, some other stuff that goes on. Rainmar, tells you that that the most accomplished members of the art have an ability that they call the Parliament of Shadows or Parliament of Shades. And she does this trick where she looks around, she kind of makes a gesture with her blade, turns it around a few times, this spinning orchestral move, and you look around her, and it's almost like the light is above her directly and casting like 8 or 10 shadows on the floor around her, and they all slither away. Um, and they all bear her sword. She
Hmm.
says that because of that, the Parliament of Shades ability, that her order has worked on using how do you combat in concert with allies, uh, so you can form a functional one-man army. And she
Right.
looks at you and asks you if you would like to some of the teachings that she's given you. Would you like to integrate them with the wolf, with Monty?
Um, you're talking to me?
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, because
sure.
she's just teaching you basic lessons. But she says there are ways that you can enhance your own combat by using her to flank your enemies or
Mhm.
just your own personal motion, things like that.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. That's
Okay.
great.
Okay. So she's teaching you that in the meantime. Agrias, um, one other thing about the prismatic chrysanthemum is she never tires, she never sleeps, she never blinks her eyes, and you're not even sure she breathes. Okay? Um, Therefore, she trains constantly, 24/7, all the time. Just this perpetual motion machine of she only drinks, it seems like, because it's a habit, like when she wants to drink a goblet. Therefore, long after Melina has been unconscious for the evening, because she is kicking her ass. The prismatic chrysanthemum is whooping her ass every day, and this is an elf who needs very little sleep, very little in the way of foodstuffs and drink and things like that. She is waking up at 4 in the morning every morning, training until about 5 in the evening, and then she's dead to the world until she wakes up again. You couldn't wake her up with a nuclear weapon if you wanted to, because such is the toll that is being taken on her, both body and soul, through the art. But when she's not training, she turns her attentions to you all the time, and she asks you if you've had the opportunity to use to walk any distance on the path of Ebon Whispers yet.
Not yet. No.
She says this might not be a bad time to do that.
Yes. I'm ready. I pull out my sword and I ask, when do we begin?
Let's begin right now. She says, compel your friend. She looks over at Lily to walk over here. Lily
Okay,
looks over at you like, how did I get roped into this?
I gesture for Lily to come over.
Lily walks over. No, she says, don't speak to the girl, speak to her shadow. Remember, where the body goes, the shadow must follow. But likewise, where the shadow goes, the body must follow. By commanding her shadow to do as you please, you can make her a puppet. Do so, my pupil. Don't
Okay.
just don't hurt me, Agrias, please. This sounds kind of scary.
I tell Lily's shadow to bend to one knee.
Okay. You say that, Rainmar. You watch this happen, and when he speaks to her, no sound comes out of his mouth. All you see is his shadow seem to mouth out the words. There's a cold sensation in the air, like somebody's draining the life out of the air. The color in between the two of them in the air seems to fade out of view for a moment. And you see the shadow first dip down, and then right with it, she goes down with it too. Almost as if the action of the shadow is pulling her and forcing her to do so.
Jeez.
She looks over at you. She nods. Well, it seems that you studied well. Can I get up now?
Can I try and use flicker and flicker through Lily's shadow?
You can try.
All
You
right,
can
I'm gonna.
try anything.
What do you need me to roll, Judge?
I need you to roll percentage dice, but I also want you to make a 20 before you do that.
All right, 20. That's a 4.
There is a little bit of, and I'll meta here a bit, there's a little 46 and 2 going on with this ability. The way that Flicker works is she steps through her own shadow and comes out the other side. All right? You are afraid that your incomplete knowledge of doing this, you may very well be able to step through your shadow and not come out the other side. It's a very real possibility. Will you do it anyway?
I'm going to do it anyway.
Oh my god. Rainmar, this is what you see. You see Agrias. He leans down. He has a sword. At one point in time, you see him try to go through his shadow. He steps onto where it is, but it doesn't yield. Just the floor there.
Damn.
She says, your connection to shadow is not yet complete. She says, you have not learned to command the tenebrous world as you will one day. But soon.
Yes, Master.
In any case, I applaud your courage, if nothing else.
I asked the prismatic chrysanthemum if he needs motivation.
She looks at you. There's no better motivation that I can think of than this. And she leans forward and she speaks to your shadow. And you hear her say, in language of darkness that only you can hear, it resonates somewhere within you, in the dark confines of your body where no light lingers. It resonates somewhere deep in there, and you hear it in this primal voice of non-existence, this whisper of cold that comes out of her mouth, this spiraling noise. As she says it, you hear her say the words, "Let him in." And as she says that, you feel yourself, hey, thanks, Antiquitous, we appreciate it. You feel yourself fall backwards through the shadow. And as you do it, for this instant, it's like plunging backwards into this ocean of night that surrounds you and drowns you deep for a moment. You feel it actually permeate through every bit of your being as you go through there. This chill takes over your body. It is the most unbelievable, most terrifying, most remote feeling ever. It affects you primally inside to do this. It's this preternatural place where you know that humanity, the living, were never meant to be. Light was never meant to be here. And as you fall back through, it only takes a split second, and you see yourself fall through one side and then reverse negative fall upwards through another piece of your shadow.
God damn. Okay.
That's how Flicker works, she says.
Thank you, Master.
Melina just is looking at the two of you, and she is awestruck. She says, Agrias. She whispers to you, Agrias. None of the flowers, not all of them combined. Not the whole garden was not capable of that.
This is what I practiced for 9 weeks, Melina.
It's no wonder that you are a different elf than who I expected to see. You can't help but be affected by this.
Yes.
It's almost like I'm aware of it. She looks down at her shadow. It's almost like it's aware of me.
Starts to mess with your brain a little bit, doesn't it?
But it makes me wonder something.
What?
What if they were right?
What if who was right?
You felt it. I know you felt it. I could see the look on your face when you came up through your shadow. What if he is down there? What if that place, what if that is Tharzadan's prison of night?
After what I just saw, I do not doubt it.
I do not know that we can wholly put our trust in someone that consorts with such forces. But at the same time, I'm of so many thoughts now. I must admit that display confused me to some degree. It implies much.
Well, if you have questions, she's here in front of us.
No, these are questions I would not ask. Of her? He looks at you. She looks at you. Melina's like, you got to be kidding me, right?
I just look at her and I say, I think you should ask. And right when I say that, I try and do Flicker again.
Okay. And by the way, Bob Nolan, his campaign had Thurisdan involved in it too. And he's in the chat right now. And he's like, oh no. He knows what's up.
All right, let's see if I can.
You're going to try and do it again?
Yeah.
Roll me the percentages. Rainmar, you're watching this happen. And being a third party, you realize that soon he's going to make a mistake
That's 64, boss.
that he'll never come back from if he keeps up with this. And the prismatic chrysanthemum, all she does is she takes a step up into the air, puts her leg across where part of her shadow was cast, folds her other leg across it. She's just floating in midair watching you.
Jesus Christ.
You fall backwards through your shadow again. Make me a saving throw, please.
Oh, God, come on. Which dice do you need, sir?
20.
Okay, all right, here we go.
Okay. And please, for your
Not
sake, roll over
right
13.
Give me justice here. Come on.
What do we get?
I have a 14, sir.
Agrias, you fall back through your shadow. And this time when you do that, it's almost like when you dive too deep into cold water, and you know you're too deep, there's no bottom. And you're flailing a little bit, you're struggling, and before where you felt it permeate you, you almost feel it pushing the oxygen out of your lungs this time. Your blood is being replaced by darkness this time. But you manage to crawl up out of your shadow and emerge out through the other side again. And again, you're in a different spot than when you started before and the time before that. It's actually working. But every time he's gone, Rainmar, it's like maybe 30 seconds of time. It's not like she does where she's just blink, 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 blink. It's a long process. And he's moving probably about 10 to 15 feet every time.
I'm going to document that, but I'm not going to say anything about it while they're practicing.
Right. And one thing you do notice, Rainmar, it's occurring to you that this move that he has could actually be used tactically inside of, say, a dungeon situation where you need to circumvent a door or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
If he had control over exactly where he comes up at, which you're not sure he does, and spoiler alert, Patrick, you don't right now. But when you become a master at this ability is going to be crazy powerful.
Yeah, for sure.
There's a reason why it's the end of the path.
Yeah.
She looks over at you and she says, I want you to know that the mystery that you have just undertaken, I have lost no less than 13 students to that, all of whom were more accomplished than you, all of whom had studied under my tutelage longer than you have. I should be impressed with your mettle.
Thank you, Master. God, I'm really rolling the dice on that. All right.
Yeah, very much so. And she looks at you kind of quizzically and says, reaches over and takes your shadow. And she runs her fingers across it. And as she runs her fingers across your shadow, she erases part of it. You see it disappear, almost drunk into her fingers. When she lifts her hand up, it slowly reconstitutes itself. And across your chest, you see her take her hand, and she begins to trace this pattern across your hand, across your chest. And inside of you, words are appearing in your memories, in your feelings, in your conscious thought. And it says the name, my name is Alta Teresa. It says, I am the prismatic chrysanthemum.
Okay.
And when she's done putting a period on it in that beautiful filigree, there, you've been marked. Your shadow knows my name now.
Okay.
Rainmar.
But I don't know her name.
No, but make me a 20-sider.
20.
You were able to visually follow the strokes of her fingers in such a way that you could see what she wrote.
Jot it down in my notebook.
Yes. Yes. Wrote it across his chest like that. So even though you didn't feel it, you know what was written.
Okay.
She looks over at the rest of you and says, Melina, the time has come to forge a weapon for yourself. She looks over at him, at her, and she looks over at you, Agrias, momentarily, just kind of smiles slightly, looks back and says,
When she looks at me, I point and tap the hilt of my sword.
She looks slightly pleased by it. Know that when you you discard your old blade and you take up mine, that you share my fate. Melina nods. I know what I accept today. Agrias. What do you think, she says to you, Agrias, as she starts to trace her fingers across the different metals again. Iron or steel? Adamant or mithril? Which do you think?
She did mithril for me, right, Carlos?
Yeah. Uh-huh. She looks back at over at the prismatic chrysanthemum. She looks over and she starts to reach towards the mithril and stops halfway. She looks down and her shadow is nudging her hand over towards adamantite.
That's the one I was going to choose too.
Yeah, me too.
She just goes with it and looks at the two of you. Agrias, make me a 20.
Yes, sir.
And you two as well, Raymar, actually.
Yeah.
19, sir.
You guys just don't fail rolls anymore.
That's an 11.
Yeah, it's good enough, though, for your intelligence. Raymar and Agrias, something unusual happened when she was choosing. Agrias thought, I want to choose adamantite. Your shadow tapped hers on the shoulder and whispered something into its ear, it looked like. You both saw it happen.
And I saw it?
You both saw it happen. And that's why it moved her hand to mithril, or no, to adamantite. Very well then. You've taken adamantite, one of the most unyielding metals known to the elves. She looks over at you, kind of smiles, Agrias. We will begin immediately. And you watch the process of the sword being forged. She takes hers, and hers is more like a katana when she's done with it.
Mm-hmm.
And she also forges a wakizashi with it.
Oh, shoot. Okay.
She's going the paired weapon route.
That's heliotrope, right?
Heliotrope, yeah. And she looks over at you when she's done, and finally you dip the. Actually, she tells you both. She says, "Go to the garden downstairs where I grow the chrysanthemums. Pluck one from its stem, as I showed you how to, Agrias, and bring it back to me. There we will finish the weapon completely."
Yes, master.
So, Agrias, you and are you gonna go with her, Raymar? Or are you gonna stay with Alta Teresa?
So Agrias has taken her down to get the I want to ask her. Yeah, I'll stay with her.
Okay.
And
Lily goes running after Agrias, but Sunny stays with you, Raymar.
So I'm alone with the chrysanthemum now.
No, you and Sunny are there.
Okay.
Well, she looks at you, and you look disappointed. So Sunny runs with Agrias' crew.
That seems prudent. Okay.
Actually, Raymar, it shows you something. She's actually learning a little bit, it seems like.
Mhm.
Before she was just doing things. Now she's actually seems like she's picking up on cues like that. Before
Oh,
she just
interesting.
didn't.
Because it's interesting because her mentor kind of just does shit without thinking about it too.
Right. But who is she
Hmm.
around right now? She's around
Right.
Lily, who is also who's teaching her in the ways that Agrias has taught her. So it stands to reason in a way.
So there's a little bit of function finally.
There's finally a little bit of function. She's trying to do her best because she doesn't want Agrias to hate her.
I just want to make sure I get the chance to take a swing at Matthew, even though he's not here with us tonight.
I know any chance you possibly can get is a good chance.
For sure, for sure.
Okay, so Rainmar, what are you going to do? You're alone with her, and she looks over at you. She's
I'm going to
looking
ask.
out through her window at the two moons. Both moons are full tonight.
I'm going to guess that you know what I'm about to ask you.
You've only asked me it so far 378 times. No,
Yeah.
411.
Consider this the last time.
It will never be the last, nor will it ever be the first.
Maybe in this place. My question is about the forging.
She nods.
I'd like to try my hand at your forging method.
I will allow it, but I wish something in return.
Well, that'll depend on what you want in return, won't it?
She nods. You will not be the only one to forge the blade that we will make together. She looks down at your shadow and looks up at you.
That's cute. So here's what I would like to forge. Arrowheads.
Arrowheads. Simple.
It's a start, and I'm not very good at this.
Not yet. She says, but the both of you will be soon. She looks between you and your shadow.
That's creepy.
She goes ahead and gets ready to show you, and asks you first, what metal would you choose?
Well, why don't you ask my shadow? That seems to be where we're headed.
She kneels down, and she whispers something into its ear. And it looks back up. You can see, without your head turning, the shadow look up. And it says, it mouths something out. She looks back, and she grabs the silver off of the wall.
Okay. I'll begin the process. I'll begin the process based on my notes, and I'll just request that I can use the forge.
The only thing that you would do first is we will need for your weapon before we even get started. Go with your friend, my students, to pluck your own chrysanthemums.
For the arrows.
Yes, get 13 of them, no more, no less.
That's not ominous. Okay, so I'll go ahead and pluck those and
Agrias, it's weird. Rainmar, as soon as you walk out of the room, Agrias looks like he just left the room with everyone else. Sunny's just starting to run out of the room. You see her footstep, it was still in the doorway when you turned over there. Now you know for a fact she took off 4 minutes ago to go 10 feet in a run.
Okay.
Rainmar, you go over there with I thought you were going to stay here with her. Sunny says, looking over at you, Rainmar. Agrias is just up ahead.
I just want to keep it creepy for her. I'll just say I did.
Oh. Oh, that's not creepy at all. Okay.
No, I left part of my shadow behind.
The three of you plus Sunny. Actually, no, I take that back. It's 5 of you in total. You go down the spiral staircase and down, and you Now things are starting to occur to you that you never really realized before. The spiral staircase, because of the way that a tower is constructed, always, if it's against the wall and there's a central light source, will always cast shadows on the wall.
Mm-hmm.
Just dozens of shadows everywhere. And it occurs to you why it is that she does not fear ever being attacked within her tower.
Sure.
Because she has an army inside of her
Totally.
tower, whether you know it or not.
Totally. Yeah, that's crazy.
So you guys walk all the way down the spiral staircase into the basement. The basement has these small panes there in the ceiling. The small panes go up into these shafts that go to the surface, and both of them have like almost telescope lenses at the top of them. So when you walk down there, the whole room is nothing but amplified moonlight. And as the moonlight comes in there and rains on all this big chrysanthemum bush in the middle of the room, all of them glow these different prismatic colors, and they all twinkle starlight. Melina looks over at you, Agrias. She's, I don't know what color to pick. She wasn't really specific. Does it matter?
I think you should look at your shadow. I'm sure it'll tell you which one to pick.
I can't speak to it yet. I'm not the one of us that is so reckless to begin using paths to go right to the end of the path. I like to walk along the road before I jump.
Yeah, you got to try. I mean,
what would have happened if you hadn't come back?
Well, I wouldn't have come back. I mean, I think that's straightforward.
Your fate would have been too terrible to comprehend.
I've seen worse.
No, you haven't.
I've seen your technique.
None of us have seen worse.
Fair enough, but let's focus on the flowers right now.
She says yes. We'll do that. She looks over at the flowers. She looks over at you. The one that she ends up picking is a kind of a silvery one.
That's a good one.
It's the one that spoke to me. I don't know if it was a good choice or a bad choice, but it spoke to me.
Am I supposed to pick up one too? I can't remember.
No.
You
weren't forging anything. Rainmar, are you going to go and walk right past them and start picking off chrysanthemums? They have no idea what you're getting ready to do.
Of course.
Okay. You, Rainmar, Agrias, you and Melina both watch as Rainmar walks right past you and starts picking off chrysanthemums off of the bush, off of the mistress's bush without any invitation. Are you going to do or say anything?
I'm just going to look at him and go, what's up, Jeremy?
I want to take one of each color if there's 13 colors.
There's probably, with nuance involved, there's probably millions of colors in there.
I'll take 13 colors, nothing close to white or black.
There are no white and there are no black. That's there are three colors that there are not represented. White,
no gray.
Black, or gray.
Got it.
So it's easy to take colors that are at different ends of the spectrum, sort of. Agrias, what are you going to say? Melina just looks at him with his jaw or their jaw open like, I can't believe he's doing this.
I'm just going to look at him and smile and ask. I would ask, but I get the feeling I'm going to find out anyway, correct?
I'm forging you some arrowheads.
Okay, as you were.
Wait, I thought you weren't going to follow the tenebrous path. Rainbow.
I'm not.
You'll get used to this, Melina.
Forging something for Agrias.
Kind of a shrug of the shoulders. Well, all right.
I just laugh.
Agrias, I just thought of something, Lily says.
What, Lily?
You know how I've been studying with Sister Aramina to hide in shadows? Considering what you guys do, we're going to be an awesome team. If you can, no, I'm serious. If you can make your shadows kind of in an area the right way, it makes it so much easier for me.
That's true. And then
Melina.
I look at her shadow and I say, roll.
You say that word,
Yeah.
and you watch the shadow dive forward and like almost dip over to the shoulder and roll over. Almost like on the way back through, it grabbed her. Her body just follows the same path. Whoa! Sonny starts to giggle.
And then I look at Sonny's and say, do a backflip.
You say that to Sonny's.
Yeah.
There is no response at all.
Oh.
Only so many mysteries you can use a day.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. Fair enough.
Spell use. I let you get away with the second one, but I'm not gonna let you get away with the third one. I have to teach you a lesson there. So
Fair
anyway,
enough.
the three of you, or the five of you, end up walking back through the monastery, the tower, until you're back at the forge, the training room, and you watch Melina forge her weapon, bit by bit. Um, Begins much like yours did. It starts with a core, okay, and hers is she teaches Melina how to open the window slightly and allow a thread of moonlight to come in and sever it with her shadow. So the moonlight just remains in a curve, a bow that she can kind of bend a little bit. And that is the basis of the weapon.
Okay.
And they build the weapon around that. And much like yours was done, your core was a little bit different, but she explains to you that the core of every weapon is its heart. It's the spirit of the weapon, and that is it makes it incredibly important what you use as core. Agrias, it makes you think back to what she did with you, and yours was she took the window and shuttered it completely,
Mm-hmm.
so that there was nothing. All that, and part of it was just this black line coming into the room, and yours was done with complete shadow. Rainmar, when it comes time for you to do yours, she takes her finger and sweeps the line on one side of the air, on one side of the piece of moonlight, and then on the other. So yours is like a half and a half shadow and moonlight. And she explains to you that it represents the way that you are walking a slender path between shadow and substance.
That's fucking Zanye.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. You
I
recognized it. Well done.
I want to forge these arrowheads from my notes that I took from watching Agrias and Melina forge their swords.
And now that you have a second option to watch somebody else do it, your notes are much better.
Okay.
You catch things that you didn't catch the first time. You notice a few things you didn't notice the first time. To the point where when it comes time to do it yourself, um, Alta Teresa has to give almost no commands at all,
Okay.
except for when to begin, when to end. And Patrick, you're pretty impressed too, Agrias, watching him do it. He actually does it now like he's a member of the order.
Okay.
And so when the arrowheads are done, they're tempered and cooled. I give them to Agrias
You give him the arrowheads.
for our friendship.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I have something to add as well, Melina says, for our friendship. And she uses her shadow to cut the strands of moonlight again. And those form shafts. And at the end of it, at the ends of them, Alta Teresa takes the remainder of the flowers and makes fletching out of the chrysanthemum petals. Rainmar, at the end of when everything is forged, she has the hammer and the tongs that were on the forge, and she gives them to you
Why are you giving me these?
because there will never be another weapon crafted on this table. You will need to repair. You may need to repair my students' weapons at some point.
Understood.
She looks at you. This table is of no more consequence. She shrugs a little bit.
Okay.
Agrias, at that point when she says that, you see Sister Aramina walking in with the other two monks. Agrias and Rainmar, roll me a 20-sider, please.
Yes, sir.
I
19.
just want to keep it creepy.
7.
Okay. You both notice on the human member of the group, he actually has quite a bit of beard growth to him. It almost looks like the last time you saw him, he was clean shaven, and now he's probably got 3 weeks of beard growth on him.
Okay.
They all come back, and they just see the three of you standing there with their weapons and the implements of the forge.
How does Sister Armina look?
Sister Aramina is a little bit. You see, she's got a fresh scar above her eye that bisects her eyebrow. She's got. It looks like she's got a little bit of swelling to her jaw. She looks cold and wet.
Okay. And how about what's his name? Kazrak?
Same. All three of them look very similar.
Okay, I would like to ask, although this was something I wanted to ask earlier, so it doesn't fit that well in this particular scene, but I wanted to know what languages Sister Armina, Brother Kazrak, and what's the other brother's name?
I believe I gave him brother. I'm not looking at my notes right now. Brother. It was a very common name.
It's like Jonah or something like
Yes,
that.
Jonas.
Okay.
And he looks at you, and they all look at you, and you notice that they're really not looking at you per se as they answer. Languages, by the way, all Kazrak speaks are Nolish and Common,
Okay.
whereas Jonas speaks Nolish, Common, Dwarven, and Orcish. Sister
Okay.
Aramina speaks Nolish, Human, Dwarvish, and no, that's it. And Dwarvish, that's it.
Okay.
They're all
Not
looking
really.
down at the ground right now, Rainmar, in the room. And
Okay.
when they do, you see what they're looking at. Their eyes are all fixed upon Monty. Monty is smaller than she was before. She's probably about half the size she was before. She looks like she's very, very young. She looks at you. Sister Armia looks at you, and she says, "No more than 30 seconds when we walked through this door, I was going to tell you that she looked as if she was growing."
So time is actually going backwards.
It's doing weird things within this room for sure. You're getting the impression, Rainmar, that in her presence, in all Teresa's presence, time just does weird shit. Because she's probably manipulated it so much that if she's not exercising complete control over it, it just does what it wants. It becomes very liquid.
Okay. I'm going to make note of that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also going to make note of the process that I went through forging the arrowheads for Agrias.
Yeah, about that. The process was as much spiritual and emotional as it was physical. At least that much.
Okay.
You felt like you were almost drained, not physically, but just emotionally and spiritually drained by the time you were done with it. You
Okay.
by giving of yourself onto the blank canvas of the anvil.
Hmm. Okay.
Mhm.
Um, I want to. Do we have time to train with one another now that Melina has her sword?
Mm-hmm. Raymar, there's a growling noise right behind your ear. You hear?
Behind my ear, I growl back.
You feel a big tongue lick the side of your face. You kind of look over your shoulder. Monty is about 6 foot tall and probably about 800 pounds.
Pretty girl.
Kind of
I
licks
just
your
give her a little bit of
nuzzles
love.
nuzzles the side of your face. It would be good for each of you to train as yourselves now, among yourselves now. She says and looks at the training area. She says, as you can see, lingering here is perilous.
How far is the training area from where we are now?
About maybe 30 feet out towards the middle of the tower and then down about maybe 75.
Okay, halfway there, I attack Melina.
Okay.
That's a fucking 20. And
You see. Go ahead.
I attack her with Agrias' sword.
Okay. You turn around, slash. She wasn't expecting it at all. Are you going to hit her with the actual blade or the flat?
The flat of the blade.
Okay. Make me an 8-sider, please.
Fucking 8-sider, bro. What the hell? That's a 7, baby.
You hit her. Agrias, you hear the bitch slap noise. It just echoes in the tower from the sound of flesh being hit by this flat item. And Rainmar, what you see her do, Agrias, is she took a step back, saw the blade, and tried to fall backwards into her shadow.
Oh God.
And ate the stone on the ground. She knew
And
it
now,
was just like she said before. You could tell Agrias and Raymar, she knew it was coming, but it was too late to do anything about it.
so Carlos, with my weapon specialization, I get 3 every 2.
Uh-huh.
So my next attack is Agrias looking at the fight that I just started?
Yeah, everybody saw when that noise was so great that it was impossible not to.
Who's closest to me?
Sunny and Lily.
And after that,
Kazrak.
how many strides am I from Agrias?
3. Hey, Judd K, thanks for following us, man. We really appreciate it. He's only about 2 strides away, straight forward.
Can I do a jumping? Are we on the stairs?
Yeah, you're on the stairs.
Oh, fuck it. I'm doing a jumping attack down the stairs at Agrias.
Uh-huh. Go ahead and make me a roll.
16.
Give me one more roll, please.
20?
Yeah.
I can't see shit in here. What is that? 18.
Okay, Rainmar, Agrias, you see Rainmar jump into the air. He knocks her down with his sword, keeps spinning, jumps towards you, and he gets airborne. Melina grabs his ankle and jerks him backwards before he can get up towards you in the air.
Okay.
She kind of stops you, and she takes her sword and tries to punch you right in the stomach with the sword.
Not happening.
Not the blade, but just the handle.
Yeah, for sure.
She hits you, but you hear the armor just kind of it takes all the steam out of it.
Okay.
Are you going to do anything, Grass? Rainmar,
Somebody's gotten cocky since they started going through shadows and shit.
Rainmar, you're standing there with her. She's laying on the ground on the stairs. She's panting because you knocked all the wind out of her when you hit her in the chest.
Is it my turn?
Melina, yeah, it's your turn. She grabbed your ankle and pulled you back when you jumped, but you didn't fall. Your balance is good enough that you didn't fall.
Okay.
What are you going to do, Rainmar?
I'm close enough for another attack.
Mm-hmm.
And where's her sword relative to me?
Her sword relative to you. She punched you in the stomach with the blade, so she pulled it back probably. It's pretty close. It's about maybe 3 feet in front of you.
You're going to jack one of her blades?
Is she fighting me with her new sword or her old one?
New sword. But she doesn't have the wakizashi out. She's only got the katana. No, other way around. She has the wakizashi, not the katana.
I'm going to smack with my blade. I'm going to smack at her hand that's holding her sword to try to disarm.
Knuckle buster. Go ahead, make me a 20.
Oh, God.
Dude, I am on fire tonight. Is that an 8 or a 6? Dude, that's an 18.
You're doing this, and Agrias, you're hearing what everything that's going on. The fight's going on over there. Sister Aramina is calm as can be. She looks over to Lily and Sunny, and she says, "Now, what I trained you." You see both of them jump off of the stairs backwards, downwards into the middle of the room. Agrias, you watch them both kind of dragging their hands along the stone as they start to slink downwards to slow their pace.
Okay.
They're learning the monk ability to fall 10 feet without being hurt. So they start to fall and break their fall as they go, both of them. And as soon as they hit the ground, you see them both kind of try and hide into the shadows.
That's dope.
All the monks are looking at each other. They're kind of talking about. You hear them talk. Jonas is like, "She too far back. She was almost out of range of the wall. I thought she did good for the first time she's ever done it. She'll never get a second chance if her technique's not good." You'll hear them all talking about it. Totally oblivious to this fight that's going on. Rainmar, you hit her on the hand as hard as you can. She drops her weapon. She looks up at you, and she says, "Drop yours now." Make me a 20.
So as this is happening, I'm just walking down smiling, and I don't even turn around to say it, and I just say, not all of us are reckless and go to the end of the path and try.
You hear her speak to you, Rainmar, and you see your shadow look over at you, and your hand. It looks like it's getting ready to disarm you. Instead, it turns your wrist forward and makes you give her a middle finger. She just kind of closes her eyes and just groans, knowing what's coming next.
So then I have initiative.
Yes, you do.
If she's defeated.
Yeah, she's down.
I go ahead and pick her up.
She reaches up. She's a good sport about it. She grabs your hand.
And I hand her her sword back.
Thank you. Although
I start carrying her to.
Although I don't know I'm going to be able to close my hand around the hilt anytime soon.
You'll have to fight with your other hand.
That's why I have 2 blades. You're a much
Sure.
better. You would have done well for yourself at the monastery, at the abbey.
Thank you. I'll take that as the highest compliment. Let's go down and kick some ass together. You draw your short sword, and we'll attack these monks.
Let's do this. She pulls him out. She hears him kind of wince, and she pulls uses the wakizashi in the hand that's kind of hurt. Agrias is about 15 steps down the way past you, and she looks over at you. The last thing she says, Raymar, she goes, "And once I beat them, he's going down for that remark."
Okay.
Agrias, you get down to the bottom of the stairs. All three of the monks are standing in the middle of the floor, just waiting. What are you going to
Okay.
do?
I am. I've got just the one sword. As we get into the room, I draw the other sword off of Monty.
Okay. Agrias is in there first, though. I need to know what he does in specific.
Okay.
And I can't do any more tricks.
Not right now, no. You're out.
Okay.
You're out of tricks.
You do have
You
spells,
do have
though.
your normal spells, though. Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna draw. What's up?
No, good. Go ahead.
I'm gonna draw my blade,
You draw
and
your
then I'm
blade.
gonna cast sleep on Melina, looking back up.
You look back up. You get ready to cast sleep. As you draw your blade, make me a 6-sider, please.
Yes, sir.
What'd you do?
6.
A 6?
It's a 6.
As you do that, you're getting ready to pull your sword. You see that? You see just out of the corner of your eye in the shadows, Lily and Sunny are looking at each other. They're counting down, going, what are you going to do?
I'm gonna pimp smack him with the flat of my blade.
Okay, which ones? Lily or Sunny?
Sunny.
Okay.
Lily's the more dangerous.
Okay, they both jump out of the shadows at you. Sunny was going for the inside of your wrist that's holding the sword, but you knew she's coming, so it's easy for you just to pound her in the top of the head with the sword. Go ahead and roll me a 20 with a +4 to hit.
Oh, God.
9.
She hits the floor like a thunderbolt. You hear all the air rush out of her. She just this pained yelp. Meanwhile, Lily comes jumping out and she's trying to sweep your legs. She hits. Make me a 20, please.
Yes, sir. 7. That's 7,
She
right?
does not have nearly enough mass to pull it off. She
Okay.
wasn't remembering the fact that you wear a heavier armor than just your normal leather. So when she does that, your weight, she just kind of bounces off your legs and rolls back. But you do notice that when she rolls back, she does kind of do it in a combat roll and pops out. And when she pops back up, she has both of her daggers out and she's looking at you. She kind of goes into a stance. Agrias, it's the first stance that you learned at the Abbey, the first stance that you taught her. She jumps back into it and looks at you all ready for it with both of her daggers. Rainmar, you're just at the bottom of the stairs. What are you going to do?
Did Melina go to sleep?
No, he didn't get the spell off. He had to deal with the girls.
That would have been amazing. Okay. I draw the other blade off of Monty's armor.
Okay.
So I'm dual wielding.
You're dual wielding at this point.
And I give Sister Automina, who obviously I have an infatuation with, I give her a little wink, and I just charge her because I think she's the best fighter in the group.
You're probably about 3 steps off of the ground as it goes down, so you have like an advantage of jumping off from a little bit of elevation towards her.
Right.
What'd you roll for your attack? 20, please?
I get 2, right?
Yep, you'll get 2. If the first one hits.
That's 11 and 10.
Okay. You swing at her with the first one, and are you going to use flat of the blade, or are you going to use the edge?
Oh, not the edge. Yeah, I'll just turn them backwards and I'll use them.
You turn them backwards. The first one you hit her across the side of the neck with, actually, and she goes down in a heap. Actually, you hear something in her neck kind of crack and turn, and you see the whole neck kind of snap back into place as she rolls up and straightens up. The other two monks get into their fighting positions. Molina jumps off of the stairs and tries to bum rush you, Rainmar. From behind.
That's what you get, man.
You better take her out, dude.
Oh,
Rainmar,
dude, I'm gonna cast
She
sleep and
jumps off of
jack her blades.
she jumps off of the stairs, puts a side kick straight into the middle of your back, feels some of the air rush out of you, and she swings at you with her hand right in the middle of the grip of the wakizashi, but misses clean over your head. She did the sidekick got you pretty good. Staggers you forward right into Jonas, and Jonas goes ahead and open hand shots you. He hits you square in the side of the face with it, right near the temple. I need you to make me a save.
God damn it.
Oh God.
Percentile?
No, 20-sider.
I can never see these fucking 12.
Okay, you man for a second everything goes dark, but you manage to hang on. You just made that saving throw. That was the stunning attack. You would have been unconscious.
Okay.
Going back to the top, Agrias, your turn. Kazrak is just waiting for you. You see him, he's calmly unfolding something out of his back pocket. It's looks like it's a blindfold. He's putting it on his eyes.
Oh shit. Oh god.
Agrias, your turn.
I'm gonna cast sleep on Melina.
Okay. You don't need to roll.
Cool.
You reach out into your pocket, and before you had flower petals, normal flower petals in there. Now when you reach out and you throw them there, they're all chrysanthemum petals. And as they go through the air, they all twinkle into stardust and then into sand, which slowly settles into the ground around her. Melina looks back at you and says, "That's so unfair." It's the ground.
Oh god.
Sunny, meanwhile, is trying to pick herself up off the ground. She has no idea where she is. Lily, on the other hand, in her stance, looks at you and she throws one of her blades right up into your face. Underhand.
That's cold-blooded. That's not nice.
And with the other one, she goes for the lunge.
Okay. All right, so I'm gonna.
Hold on.
Magic missile.
We actually got a hit here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she hits you pretty good in the chainmail with that little dagger with the other one. The other one, because it's normal reaction, the way she did it so quickly, you had to kind of grab for it, which opened up this flank, and she stabs you right in the side of the rib cage. If it wasn't for the fact that she was obviously trying not to penetrate it, she probably would have done some pretty good damage with that. Rainmar, it's your turn. Actually, I take it back. It's the sister's turn.
Shit. This is gonna be bad.
Sister Aramina looks at you. You were running towards her. You turned around. She actually draws back into a roll. And she is so fast that falling back a little bit and rolling back, she's out of range for you. She jumps up, puts her foot on the wall, and shoots a crossbow bolt at you.
At me.
At you. You notice there's no head on it when it hits your armor. Light crossbow hits you square in the middle of the chest. It would have done a lot of damage had it had a head on it. But the bigger problem is she's smart. She's using her mobility. You can't close to her this round. Right in between you and her are Kazrak and Jonas. Your turn, Rainmar.
All right. Am I on my 2 to 3 now?
You are on your 2 to 3 now.
I'm on my 2 to 3. Okay. Okay. It was Jonas that punched me.
Jonas punched you.
I go ahead and drop both swords, and I give him a look like this, and I kind of come in, so just
When you drop both your swords, he gets this big smile on his face, this kind of goofy lopsided grin. You see him throw his Joe staff to the ground and takes off the crossbow and lets it clatter to the ground. He goes,
and I just give him a look like.
You both square off. Go ahead and make me 220s.
That is, ouch, a 2.
There's not too many times I can think of in the history of D&D that the non-monk has waded in willingly into martial combat with a monk. But go ahead. Go ahead and read the other one.
I for sure just got my ass kicked because I rolled a 2 and then a 9.
Okay.
So
the first one, you miss him clean. The second one, he grabs your wrist and pulls you forward and headbutts you as hard as he can.
Oh, dude, you're getting worked.
These monks
Yeah,
are...
you did get work. Make me a saving throw.
Okay.
You gotta do a saving throw?
That's a 20.
Okay. Again, he hits you square in the head. That what should have knocked you cold. Instead, it knocks you flat to the ground, but you're still conscious.
Okay.
By the time you're on the ground, he's already in the air. And you see him above you getting ready to come back down. Agrias, meanwhile, Kozrak has walked away from this and is walking towards you.
All right,
Dude.
so I'm just gonna bolt up to him, and as I run past Melina, I'm gonna grab her short sword and then reverse grip it. And just charge. I'm gonna turn my blades around so I can't actually cut him. And go right for his chest.
Through the blindfold, he follows you. See his head track you the whole way. Go ahead, make me a 220s.
Got it.
This turned into
16,
Rock'em Sock'em Hockey fast.
16 and 5.
What's that?
16 and 5.
Okay. Rock bottom. Love you, Bobby. Thanks for showing up for us, buddy. We're gonna get you in on one of these games sooner or later. Okay, Agrias, the first time you come in there with the sword, which one was first, the katana or the wakizashi?
I only have her short sword, but I got my Dao blade.
Oh yeah, exactly. Okay, your Dao. That's what it was. I forgive me. I thought
It's
it was
okay.
a katana as well. Which one do you want to attack with first?
I'm going with my Dao first, my broadsword.
That's the one that hits. You miss with the wakizashi, and you can tell right away the balance isn't what you expected. It was clearly made for her weight and for her size, and as a result, it just kind of threw you off. But the Dao, it does hit. I need to roll me a D10, please.
D10. Oh, wait, that's over here. 20.
20 on a D10? That's a trick.
Wrong one. 3.
Okay. The Dao comes across, hits him on the side of the shoulder, kind of spins him half around. Sister Aramina opens up another salvo, this time at you again, Rainmar.
Dude, she's just on you.
She is just out of range all the time. If you were to come up at her, you could close, but she would get the attack. So, and what you find out now about Sister Aramina is she is awesome at understanding environment. That is what her skill is the ability to use space. It is now, it would be Rainmar's turn now. Rainmar, the crossbow bolt went over your head, hit the ground, and shattered.
Okay. And Jonas is right on top of me.
He's right on top of you. He's coming down from midair with a fist.
So,
He looks like a meteor coming down. It looks like his feet are planted, so he's going to land both in your chest.
So when I landed on my back, did I land where I dropped my swords?
You did.
Dude. Okay, all I'm gonna do is I'm down. I'm just gonna grab a sword, and as he's coming down, I'll just slap him.
20-sider, please.
Yeah.
Hey, Mark, it's good to see you, buddy.
16.
Okay, he comes down out of midair. The punch comes through the air, but before it gets there, the flat of your blade hits him square across the side of the head. You knock him out of the air like you're trying to swat a fly. Go ahead and make me a D8.
Oh, D8. That's a 5.
He hits the ground, rolls over twice. He looks almost as out of it as Sonny right now. So speaking of which, Agrias, since you ignored completely Sonny and Lily and walked right past them to get to Kazrak, you see now why Kazrak was so calm about all this. They both attack you from behind.
Of course. Shits.
Sonny comes over with her knife and tries to put it in your back, and you see her legs just go jello, Rainmar. She's not herself right now, still from that friggin' shot she took from Agrias. She is punch drunk as hell. And when she comes through with her dagger, she actually falls to the ground. It hits the ground, kind of skitters away a bit. Lily, not so much though. Lily has them both. She jumps on your back and has one on your throat, and the other one is underneath your armpit. And she looks at she goes, yield. Go. Come on, yield. Kazrak looks at you, and he says, I'll give you a moment. Agrias, what are you going to do?
I'm going to flip my blade, and her head's right here.
Uh-huh.
So I'm just going to bang her on the flat of the blade. Knock her out.
Roll me a 20.
All right. Okay, give me something good. Oh, come on.
Well,
3.
This is your 3-2 round, so you have another attack.
Oh, sweet. Let's do it.
So he's kind of going.
Yeah.
17.
This is what ends up happening. You see a Grass Rainmar. Grass turns around both of the blades. He staggers them purposefully. Okay, one of the Dao blade comes first, and he follows the second with the Wakizashi. She ducks out of the way of the Dao and eats the Wakizashi right in the forehead. Go ahead and make me a 6.
Oh. 6.
You hear her whimper, and she falls unconscious off of your back and hits the ground in this heap of unconscious child gnome. She hits the ground like a newborn baby thrown off the 4th story of the hospital. She is out like a light. On top
That's
of her
amazing.
Kazrak goes, okay, now we can begin again.
Bring it.
Kazrak comes in and he punches you, Agrias.
Okay.
Open hand, ridge hand shot to the side of the neck, and that's a hit.
Damn.
He is so strong. He knocks you off of your feet, trips you over Lily and Sonny. You manage to keep your balance. You're like in the superhero pose on the 3s, but you're a good 10 feet away from where you started, and you know you're going to have a bruise all the way along your jaw from that one. He hits like a friggin' freight train. And then while you're sitting there trying to get up, 20. You get hit straight between the eyes by a light crossbow bolt with no head on it. Make me a saving throw.
20?
Yep. I rolled a 20.
Okay. Here, this is it. This is for everything. 15.
Man, that thing hurt, and you're seeing stars everywhere. your all-around vision is useless for the next 3 rounds because you're so staggered, but you manage to retain consciousness. She looks
Can
she looks pissed. Like I knew you were done. I just knew you were done.
can I turn on my all sight, the dark?
No, unfortunately, your sensory powers aren't going to work right now because you're so literally seeing stars right now. Jeremy, your
Oh,
turn.
right. Okay.
Rainmar, what are you going to do?
So Lily and Sunny are out.
Lily and Sunny and Melina are out.
Okay. And
It's
Jonas
basically,
is,
it's basically you two against the 3 monks at this point.
but Jonas is pretty much done.
Yeah, Jonas is pretty much done too. You hit him, he hit the ground, skittered away, and he is still trying to recover. He looks like his left arm is limp.
Is he close enough for me to help up or help to the side?
Yeah.
I'll use one of my attacks to kind of help him get out of the way so I can take on Sister Artemina.
At first, he thinks you're going to attack him, so he comes up with a block, but then when he sees what you're doing, he just kind of nods and goes with it and kind of goes up against, lets you push him to the wall.
Can I use that for my 3x2?
Yes, I'm going to let you use that for 3x2.
Okay, then I'm going to close Sister Artemina then.
Okay. You close up Sister Armina. Agrias, your turn.
Oh God.
This guy is a Sherman tank. This Knoll. He's like 7 foot tall, of nothing but muscle and lightning fast motion.
Okay, so I'm gonna drop the short sword next to Melina and just charge this guy and just make it look like I'm going in for a flat swing with the blade. And then throw a magic missile right in his face.
That's dirty pool right over there. You see him, he waits, and you see him start to duck down. He was going to use his shoulder and throw you over at Melina and at Rainmar, but when he turns up like this, your hand is right there in his mug.
Yes!
This bright glow just appears underneath the sphere of your hand, and it just light explodes out from the gaps between your fingers. The light all looks like these petals of chrysanthemum exploding up from the inside of your hand. Make me a foresighter, please.
It's over here. Top one? 3.
Okay. You hit him clear in the mug with that, and at such close range, you see, first of all, you see the cloth of the blindfold explode off of his face, and he just goes falling backwards with it out. Rainmar, now that everybody's on the ground and you're looking up at Sister Armina, you're closing with it, you can see that she had her head down, and when she looks up at you, her face is this long cone of fur, a twinkling nose at the end of it, these long whiskers. Her eyes are dead black, beady eyes. As you've rushed her now, she takes an open hand shot at you. That is a hit. Make me a 20, please.
13.
Okay. She hits you, and it goes, you kind of manage to miss the head, but it hits your chest. Your right arm goes dead numb.
Okay.
Your right arm is useless right now.
Are you going to get over and help me, dude?
Rainmar, your turn.
I'm on my way, bro. I'm handling things.
What are you gonna do?
Can I grab the shot that she hit me with? Can I grab that hand?
You can try. Make me a 20.
Oh God.
What did you do? You grab it, and then you realize something. You've greatly underestimated the strength of a lycanthrope, because she grabs your wrist and pulls you right into the stone wall.
Wow, way to go, bro.
Thanks, dude.
Well done. Teamwork is working well here.
Rainmar, you see him hit that stone wall face first, and he almost peels off the side of the wall. The force hit him so bad. Out. Agrias, your turn.
Okay, so it's just me and Sister Adomina.
Mm-hmm.
You won't beat her probably.
I'm not expecting. Okay, I got no spells, no tricks.
No spells.
Oh shit! Oh god.
Okay.
Agrias, you kind of out of the corner of your eye, you can look up through the big tunnel of the tower. Standing at the top of it, looking downward, is Alta Teresa just watching this whole thing play out.
Okay, I'm like, well, shit. Okay, see who's watching. All right, I'm just gonna go in and just do two slashes with the flat of my blade.
Okay, make me a 2 20s, please.
Got it. Okay, here we go. That is a 9, and let's just.
It's not enough.
And a 12.
It's not enough, dude.
You hit her the first time across the jaw, nothing. Doesn't even blink at you. The second one you hit her across in the side of the collarbone, doesn't even blink at you.
She's not even dodging.
She reaches in and grabs you by the armor, and she chitters a little bit. And you ever seen a Doberman Pinscher when it gets a chew toy in its mouth and it wants to play? She doesn't punch you. She doesn't kick you. She doesn't throw you. She starts shaking the shit out of you. Just reaching back and with this unbelievably preternatural strength. She's just ragdolling you back and forth. You feel something come out of your pocket. You lose the sword once. Part of your the braid comes out in your hair. It's unbelievable. You're like, it feels like you're stuck in someone's washing machine on spin cycle. She just, when she's done with you, she just slams you head first into the ground. Blackness ensues.
So I want to go on record. I had my money on that Sister Adomina would win this whole thing.
You guys couldn't hurt her. The only way you guys could have hurt her is with magic weapons.
I know.
And Agrias, because he's using the flat of the blades, Agrias could have hurt her with the sword, but that wasn't the exercise. The exercise was not hurting each other terminally. Agrias, when you wake up, it's because Sister Adomina is picking you up. She's kind of dusting you off. She's back to normal. You see Rainmar starting to come to over on the side.
Yeah.
He's over there. Jonas is with him. Jonas is over there. He's kind of trying to help him out a little bit. Kazrak's helping the two gnomes. Well, I don't want to go. Andy, I don't want to go to school. You're Sonny. Andy, I don't want to go to school. Andy, you're ugly as hell. She looks up at Kazrak. All the time above you, the charismatic chrysanthemum just looks on. And that, gentlemen, is where I think is a good time to end our session for the evening. It's 11:48 right now. We went slightly over 2 hours. Thanks for everybody who followed us out there on Twitch. I hope you guys had some fun with this. Appreciate you especially tuning in here because it got so late at night. I know it's almost midnight Eastern time. Boys out there, did you have fun tonight?
Yeah, that was an amazing one.
Yeah, I thought that was a fun session, man. Out there in Twitch, I don't know when we're going to be on next. I think I'm actually slated to have something go on next Monday, at which time we're going to have an episode of Castle Talk. My guest then will be the great Lawrence Schick, who is the architect of White Plume Mountain, the Great White Plume Mountain module that everybody knows and loves. Has probably every single person out there has run through at least one time. It's one of my favorites of all time. I'm really excited to have Lawrence there. For those of you who like to watch the interview shows, it's going to be very, very early in the day. Lawrence lives over in Dublin, Ireland right now. So I'm going to wake up early and I'm going to be conducting the interview at 3 in the afternoon. Yeah, 3 in the afternoon. So for you guys, that'll be about noon on the West Coast. Hope you guys can tune in and get a chance to watch it because Lawrence has one of the most interesting backgrounds of people in gaming. He's done a lot of cool stuff since TSR days. Gentlemen, as usual, you guys were awesome. Stick around for a little bit after we sign off here on Twitch so that we can say our goodbyes. But for
Cool.
my friends out there, Rainmar, Agrias, I'm Carlos A.S. Lysing, Dungeon Master of the first Betrayal game. You guys have a nice night. Until the star break, everybody.